people, the headlines, the issues impacting you, all on This Week in Cincinnati on 9 on Your Side.
Welcome back to This Week in Cincinnati. Union Terminal and the Cincinnati Museum Center are Cincinnati icons. The terminal is one of the most recognizable buildings in our area, and now we are in the final stages of the major renovations and restorations that will ensure it's part of our community, of course, for many, many years to come. Joining us this morning to talk a little bit more about the work that has already been done, Museum Center's Director of Communications, Cody Hefner, and Mike Burson, who is the owner's representative at the Union Terminal Corporation. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
What a transformation. We've seen some sneak peeks and some videos. Our crews have gone over to shoot a few things behind the scenes as work has been done. What's been the most, I guess, fascinating reveal from this process for you guys?
I think for me, the thought that what you're doing is monumental. We are seeing parts of the building that have not been seen in over 85 years. Mm-hmm. We're seeing inside walls that have not been opened up since they were, bricked up and plastered over originally. So that aspect and recognizing this moment in history and then seeing how everything was put together in the 30s when they built the building and how we're putting it back together using a lot of the same techniques, but infusing that with new techniques and some new materials and the new knowledge that we now have of construction management today.
And I would agree. I think just having worked on buildings for a while, this very unique steel structure, but it's encased in concrete and masonry, and understanding that we know a little bit more now about how materials move differently, and so you have to accommodate that. So
some of the technology has certainly changed over the years. We're looking at some of the renovation photos,
yes,
and images, the crew's working hard out there. This building from the outside, you look at it and you just think, God, this is just a hardened, structure of concrete. But really, I think the behind the scenes videos that you share on the website and you've been sharing with folks as the project has gone on, you've kind of softened it a little bit, like made the building a little more human, like we're working with her to make her better. I don't know, I kind of get that personal feeling from that.
Well, a lot of people have a personal connection to the building, sure, for a lot of different reasons. Maybe they had a loved one who went off to the Second World War or came back. And but it's the kind of building that you just really feel that way, that there is a personality about it, and you want to do the best you can.
And those memories, those are made at the fountain. They're made in the rotunda. They're made beneath the mosaics, the various areas and spaces in and around the building. And so showing people what we're doing to those spaces to restore those, to sort of preserve them and the memories that come with them, mm-hmm, is what I really think that resonates with people and why they enjoy seeing that behind the scenes. And there's just that curiosity factor of the nuts and bolts and how something goes together.
So right now, we're looking at some of the beautiful mosaics there right now. So those had to individually, each tile had to go in and be cleaned and basically restored, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
You can see how extensive the scaffolding is. They spent time, just tapping along those mosaics, listening for dull thuds and hollowness to see if any of it's become delaminated and starting to pull away, mm-hmm, from the wall behind it, and what tiles are loose and the condition of the stucco within it as well. But that's over 6,000 square feet of mosaics just there in the rotunda that, right, are being addressed and cleaned and repaired.
And then glued or plastered back on, so to speak, just to make sure that they can stay?
Yeah, and injecting it with needles to sort of stabilize cracks and adhere stuff behind it as well.
Right.
So it's a lot more than just going up and wiping it down with a rag and moving on to the next section.
Yeah, no, and they're doing some coloration restoration as well. So, but the tiles are embedded in the plaster, and so, right, when those cracks, that's what they're injecting.
So when people walk in, when this is completed and they get to walk in for that first time, and of course you talk about photos and memories, thousands of selfies are going to be taken obviously on day number one. What's that wow factor when people walk in? Do you think that'll be different from when the day it closed down for restoration?
I think it will. I think that it's a building that you can very easily take for granted in its grandness. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are very familiar with it, so they visit it multiple times, and so they take for granted the details and the aspects of it. And going back in and rediscovering those for the first time is really going to be impressive for people, I think.
And the central air and heating system that is being put in there, will it allow other exhibits that you couldn't have there before to be shown because it's more climate controlled or a better environment?
Yeah, it will. It'll definitely be able to provide more, to meet the requirements of some stringent humidity and temperature requirements, mm-hmm, for some of the exhibits, and we'll help them bring in others that maybe they couldn't do before.
And it primes other areas in the building for future gallery expansion down the road. We've reclaimed some space by updating that, the HVAC systems and moving some equipment and localizing that in different areas and reclaiming that space so that we can use that down the road.
And one of the main projects going on right now, if you've gone out there to take any pictures or anything, so the western wall, kind of a brick by brick demolition process, and then you're going to restabilize that with steel and concrete, correct?
Yes, there's additional steel that's going to be placed in that wall. And you have to also mention that it's only 12 feet away from a railroad track.
Right.
So that makes it a really interesting project. But yeah, it's a huge wall, and it's already, demolition's almost complete, so we're getting to start the process of rebuilding the wall.
All right. Well, I certainly appreciate both of you being here and sharing everything. If you haven't been online to look at any of the update videos, I certainly suggest you do. I'm going to tweet out a link for you, put it on my Facebook page as well, McKee WCPO on both Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I'll push that out. Definitely continue giving us updates, please.
Absolutely.
On the videos. All right. Cody Hefner and Mike Burson, thank you so much for being here. This Week in Cincinnati. We'll be right back.